Folks, welcome to Tabletop Tactics with myself, Lawrence, aka The Spider, and my colleague, the B-Bone himself.
Yes.
It is Ben.
It's me. It's me.
It's Ben.
Yeah. Hi.
So today, what are we doing? We're doing a Q&A with your questions answered via our social media outlets. So we asked you with very short notice to ask us anything. You know, be it our backgrounds, be it about the channel, be it, you know, what movies we're into, whatever. And you absolutely answered that call. In less than a 24-hour turnaround, you answered asked a bunch of questions on Instagram and Facebook. And we've actually already done one of these now.
Yes, over and on demand.
But there were so many questions, we thought we'd do one for you guys here on Freeview too.
Yeah.
How cool's that?
Yeah, lucky ducks.
That's it. Now, we've answered one question twice because it was such a popular question.
Yeah.
So we're going to answer that again in this one.
Because we want to know what everyone thinks.
We do, yeah. Although we've taken the same question, but
from a different
person. So your name might get called out. How about that?
It's same, but different.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you ready, sir?
I was born ready, mate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember you talking about if in the 40k universe you would be born and then you would die, the virus bomb would hit.
Born ready. Didn't mean I wasn't ready.
Right. Yeah.
It just means that I was cut short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was it's a tragedy, really.
It's like the Lana Del Rey song, Born to Die, isn't it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went deeply introspective there.
Yeah.
I had to consider some stuff.
And this is Backstage, where we just talk about everything.
In a way, aren't we all?
Yes. Yes, I suppose so. Do you want to get into philosophy in this one? Is that what, because I've got questions.
I'm quite wise.
No. So, okay. We're going to kick this off, and we're going to kick this off with an Instagram question from follower Poultrygeist. Great name.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite sci-fi or fantasy series or setting outside of the 40k universe? That's a big question. Oh. It's a big question. You can answer first.
Oh, thanks, mate. Favorite one. There's a lot. There is a lot. Like, I think, weirdly, I tend to lend more towards fantasy as far as like what I read and all that sort of stuff. I mean, Lord of the Rings, obviously, is like the bedrock of so much of the sort of fantasy that we see these days anyway. So I couldn't not say Lord of the Rings as one of them. I really like the books of Game of Thrones as well.
Which I've not read, actually.
Yeah, the books are fantastic. Yeah. The books are just incredible. And the series, to a certain point, was as well. We don't want to go there. Really love them. Another fantasy book that I have read is by a guy called Patrick Rothfuss, and it's called The King Killer Chronicles. Yeah. Name of the Wind was the first book, I believe. Yeah. There's a second book, and the name eludes me. It's been a while since I've read them, and we're still waiting on the third book.
We've been waiting a long time.
Waiting a long time. Yeah. Probably that's my favorite modern fantasy
Silk and Knife,
that exists.
Isn't it? The second one?
Something like that, yeah, it says right. But that's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like my fantasy element. As far as science fiction is concerned, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite one is outside of 40k.
Tough question.
Yeah, like I mean, I
is it fair to say you don't have a favorite, but you like quite a few different things?
I think fantasy, like those would be my three that would, and they're quite similar. So that's the kind of genre that I really enjoy. Yeah. But with science fiction, I enjoy science fiction, just kind of like full stop, and there's different elements within that. Like I do like Star Wars. Albeit I think it's more of a kid's show now, really. But I mean, that's what I grew up with, right? Yep. Star Trek's all right, I guess. I mean, those are the kind of big ones. But then, you've got some really cool, like I really liked the series Battlestar Galactica, for example. Yeah. I thought that was really good.
Which I want to watch. I've watched that one.
Which is really good. Right, I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, same.
Look, what about you?
Poultry Guys, that's a really tough question. Actually, the Patrick Rothfuss series is also one of my favourites.
Yeah. I just think he's such an incredible writer.
He's a brilliant writer, and the character's really, the lead character's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think probably as actors, we sort of related to things which happened to him, which is really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Oh, I'm feeling sad just thinking about it. But yeah.
It's almost like a Harlequin-esque troupe, if you want to relate it to 40K. It's nothing to do with science fiction, but there's a troupe in it that he joins and everything, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But fantasy-wise, obviously I grew up reading The Lord of the Rings, so I love The Lord of the Rings.
Tolkien is amazing.
Yeah, I loved Game of Thrones, the series, bar the last, the last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another story. Fantasy-wise, I'm kind of like you are with the sci-fi. I tend to like most types of fantasy. I can have it all. But if I had a favorite, it would generally be dark fantasy.
Yeah.
And by dark fantasy, I mean where it's more visceral, it's more of a low magic world. Which Game of Thrones really is, in many respects. But I also like a lot of anime, and a dark fantasy anime is that I think hits that genre well is Berserk.
Yeah.
And that's quite...
You love Berserk.
I love Berserk, yeah.
You
I
talk
don't
about
like the
it
new
all the
anime
time.
series, though.
Huh?
They redid it, and it's not... So I've got the books, actually.
Oh, right.
Which I'm actually reading right now, which is really, really cool, the manga books. But they actually did an updated version of the anime series. And they do this every now and then. They did that with another series called Guyver, which I don't know if you ever watched.
The original...
The original Guyver series.
Yeah. That was early 80s, right?
Yeah, sort of early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
The Bio Boosterama.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I've seen it, but if you were to ask me any follow-up questions about it, I don't know.
Well, the original was really good. But then they redid it, and it wasn't good. It's weird because they basically remake it almost frame for frame in many respects. It's like the same animation, but just the voice acting isn't quite as good. The animation, even though it's more modern, still weirdly isn't as good because they've got this thing now where they're trying to insert quite a lot of CGI. Into it, which sometimes works really well, and sometimes just really doesn't work very well. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But series like that, fantasy like that, dark, visceral fantasy, I absolutely love. Science fiction-wise,
Aliens.
Aliens, 100%.
I just had to say it.
Yeah, Aliens, 100%. I mean, that as the cinematic universe is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I won't go into the latest films.
One. No. It's Aliens 1 and 2, and then as far as I'm concerned, it finished after.
Yeah. Recently, I massively got into The Expanse actually, and I finished watching that.
You were telling me about.
Well, I didn't like the first few episodes.
No, that's why I stopped watching.
Yeah, I actually. To be fair, it's not that I didn't like them, but I just didn't. When you don't get into something, it doesn't hook you. I was like, no, I don't know if this will be for me. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go again because I kept seeing all of these reviews, everything online, banging on about The Expanse. And I like Star Trek. I've watched all of that as well. I was like, I'm going to give this a go. Like that many people can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, I watched the first few episodes again, and weirdly, actually, watching the first few episodes, I actually enjoyed it more. And I don't know, maybe when you watch something sometimes and maybe you're just not ready to watch it at that time.
Yeah.
Like I had too much, because I remember when I first watched it years ago and I had too much else going on. Like I was very restless. I couldn't even sit down and watch a whole series. I was, out and about, just
too much going on.
There's too much going on.
There's too much going on.
So anyway, I think The Expanse is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love science fiction in general.
I think there's so much in science fiction because like even as we're talking, like, oh yeah, I like that, I like that. But yeah, I definitely like the darker stuff as well. Actually, there's this great one on Netflix, which is almost about like time travel. It's called Dark. And it's
I've
German.
heard about that. Yeah, that's supposed to be really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's but you've got to be in a really. It's something you got to focus on. So you've got to actually want to sit down. One, because I don't speak German.
Has it got more of a horror element as well?
Yeah.
I love horror sci-fi.
It's really suspense and very surreal, and it's quite. You kind of sit there going like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, it's very good.
I want to check that out.
Yeah.
I love cult classics like Event Horizon. that concept, which is basically 40k in many respects.
It is.
They
just went in there with that Jellyfields. That's what happened.
But yeah, no, I love all that stuff. So great question. Thank you, Poultrygeist. Are you ready for the second question?
I think so, because we really went into that. I'm ready for the second question.
Okay, it was a big question. You can't ask a question like that.
It's big.
Okay, this one is from Facebook, and it's from Thomas Gleiberg. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Forgive me if I haven't. But any chance for live stream battle reports or live Q&A in the future? Stay safe and stay awesome. You stay safe and stay awesome. Thank you. Right. So I'll lead this question.
Sure.
Shall I?
I know the answer.
Yeah, you do know the answer. Well, do you want to lead this question?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And is that it?
Yeah. Well, ideally, what we're doing right now is something that we had planned to do, but it would be live, right? Because that'd be more fun. Because when we can have more people in the studio, they relax the restrictions a bit further. You know, what we'd do is you'd probably have a panel of us here, and someone would actually be getting the questions live and all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
And I'd love to do that. That's because, you know, especially at the moment when we can't directly connect with the community other than via comments and stuff like that, to have a live interaction with you guys is something that I dearly miss. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yep,
and you're absolutely right. It's something that we all want to do. And in fact, truth be told, I'll level up the information.
Do it!
So we're actually ready in many respects to do live streaming. And in fact, we were poised to start it. And in fact, I was invited to the Las Vegas Open, which was going to be live streamed.
Yeah.
So some of you might be aware of that. Hosted by the Frontline Gaming guys, which would have been really cool, and absolutely wanted to take part. But then this new lockdown took place, and we have to follow the regulations here to keep us all safe. And we couldn't justify the third person in the room. And to do a live stream, you have to have the third person in the room. We need someone on the mixer, on the switcher doing everything. And also, if you're asking questions, like if there isn't someone at the monitor, like you could be asking all these questions and we won't, you won't get any answers.
Get any.
So, that's why we haven't done it, is because of COVID. However, we are rolling out the vaccine here in the UK.
Trundling along.
According to government updates, that we will be sort of more back to normality, or at least a version of normality.
Yeah, within the next few months.
Yeah, in the next few months. At which point, look, we're just watching the regulations because we have to follow the British TV and film guidelines. The minute they're updated to allow us to do it safely, we'll be doing it. So it's actually going to happen, including live battle reports, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I still remember we came back after Christmas and we're like, right, in a couple of weeks, we're going to kick off with this. We're just going to iron out a couple of more kinks, and then we'll be good to go. And then we got shut down again. It was just like, I mean, we're really fortunate that we can continue to film battle reports and Voxes and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was a bit of a kick in the teeth, to be honest. We're all...
It was exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting because it's something, like I say, that brings, I think more so, it will kind of feel like you guys are more in the room with us, which is cool. It will also be a skill for me to watch my potty mouth.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that.
And as a result, because you can only monitor yourself so much, a month, we won't be doing, live stream format won't replace what we're currently doing, but it will be in addition to or occasionally replace a battle report. So occasionally, so if you're here on Freeview, instead of getting a battle report on Saturday, we might do a live stream game in the evening,
something like that
on a Thursday or something.
Yeah.
We'll work out a schedule, but it will be something like that, and maybe once every couple of weeks. And on demand, we'll try and do one a week.
Yeah.
So look, that's it. Thanks. Great question. You ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, so this
virus bomb hasn't come yet.
No, it's not.
This is like what could have happened if I survived. You see, the miracles that could have been brought to the grim dark.
This is what could have happened.
It could have happened, but unfortunately, it's not how it went down.
No. Right, so the next question is from Instagram, and it's from longtime follower Martin G. Siverston. Again, I hope I've pronounced your name properly. Thanks for all your support, buddy. You've been an amazing supporter over the years. And incidentally, he says, I started watching TT when you were still playing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Where do you see the channel going in the next 5 years? This is another big question. So I have a 5-year plan, I do, which is useful being the director, because if I didn't know where we were going, it might be a problem.
Could be.
But why don't you answer first, and then I'll tell you where I think, well, where I would like us to be.
Well, in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years. 5 years is quite a long time.
5 years is a really long time. It's really interesting when I get asked questions like this at the moment, because of the year that we've had. It's really kind of thrown everything on its head, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very, I say what I'm going to say with trepidation in a way, just because, like, as we have seen, like,
don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, exactly. But nothing. It really has shown me that, like, nothing is certain. Yeah. Having said that, though, all being well, I mean, we would be, and I think we're going to cover this later, so I might be jumping ahead a little bit.
Okay.
But, like, I think.
Do you want to say it then, or not? Do you want to save it?
Well, I think we'll be covering different game systems.
Uh-huh.
A couple in particular, which we're going to go into a bit later. I envisage that we'll probably have more. We'll have more team members, which will be good.
Yeah.
I just see us kind of continuing to expand our horizons in the types of games that we play. The kind of team members that we get, more diversity within our teams, which is only good for you guys, because at the moment I know there's been a few people commenting like, why is it only Bone and Beard playing?
Yeah.
It's just how it's had to be at the moment. However, I'm now up to speed with the new editing format that we've got, so we're going to be cycling Chef in a bit more, which is good.
Yeah. It was to allow training times, and also because of COVID, certain restrictions, skeleton crew. It's not been the easiest year.
I think I'd like to see a lot more Dungeons and Dragons going on, because I love that. Don't get me wrong, I love 40k, but if I had to play a game for the rest of my life, it would be D&D, and that's the actor in me, and the writer, and the creator, and all that sort of stuff. And it's not you can't bring that to 40k, but it's a lot. 40k is a very singular game system.
Well, it's a tabletop.
Yeah, exactly.
War game. Although we can do 40k RPG, Rogue Trader or Wrath and Glory. I think it's called.
And why not? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
that could be a bit of fun.
Planning the running one. So
that could be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So so in short, more gaming systems, more staff, a little bit more focus on D&D. Maybe we'll even have bigger studio spaces as well, tournaments, that sort of thing. I think we all want to. We've kind of answered that on the other video, but that's something we're all really interested in doing. And I will have won a grand tournament in the next 5 years as well.
That's big. That's a big call. Mm-hmm. Okay. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So my plan, expand the team a little bit, because part of my reward running this whole thing, creating it, is to give people jobs. I think it's a really cool thing. It's very satisfying, and it's very satisfying to watch the channel grow. Obviously, we need certain things in place to be able to do that. Otherwise, I'd just love to hire everyone.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But in 5 years, the plan is, and it's an aggressive plan, is to have a much bigger space and to get a hall or a venue that we will run regular tournaments from. So we will become an event organizer here in the UK, because there is a distinct lack of event organizers here in the UK. There are some, and some do a brilliant job. But generally, unlike I think places like Australia and the States, where you've got a lot more open space, and actually getting larger buildings at a cheaper cost it's more easily attainable.
Yeah.
Where in the UK, we're basically a small island. We don't have all of our old large buildings are also extremely expensive.
Yeah, because they're heritage listed or whatever.
And then if you go into a city, and if any way you rent or hire is also very expensive. So there's a lot. I think there are some logistical challenges in the UK, which is why I think the States in particular sort of really took to the tournament scene, and they were able to, you guys, if you're watching this from the States, you were really able to host tournaments, I think, a lot more easily than us in the UK. We do have some advantages, like we have Warhammer World, and that's awesome. I can't wait to go back to those events.
Yeah,
but
I love Warhammer World.
Yeah, it was just great fun. It's sitting Bugmans, you know, it's great.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why we won't be able to do that. We are on track to do it, and that's something you guys can look forward to. Plan on big plans for like proper big tournaments, so that would be really cool. We'd be happy to host those.
Yeah.
And
we're going to have Sanger in a giant grotty costume.
Yes, that's his whole job.
And he's going to be handing out the little baggies that you get when you go to tournaments.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm quite excited to make him wear that costume.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not allowed to break.
No. And there's no zip on the costume.
No. So once we actually put it on, he has to live in it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
I don't know.
So
I see none.
So that's the plan, tournament-wise and events-wise, a natural expansion of the team. Yes, we'll talk about maybe some other systems shortly. Absolutely want to expand on the D&D.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later, I'm going to run a 40k role-play campaign as well, so that would be really, really cool.
But Lawrence, I can't play a character in the 40k universe.
Well, I've got an idea about it. I think I'm going to go... No, I do, yeah.
Good idea about it. So you die in the first episode, and then you can sit out and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Well, I think we'll go down the Road Trader path. So rather than having the guys play Space Marines and stuff, which will actually link into another question, which I know is coming up. So I'll answer that more thoroughly in a moment.
All right.
Look, that's the first 3 questions.
Yeah. I like them.
Now we have the next question. The next question is from Instagram also. It is from rsimpson105. Hello.
Hello.
How did the channel start and how did you all meet?
Well, we've done a series on this.
We have.
We've done a series on this, which was quite in depth. In fact, I think if you put the whole series together, it's like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So, briefly.
Yeah, briefly. We'll do a brief one because I mean that is a huge.
That's
question.
a huge question.
It's a huge question.
And you can find that over on demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think we did a few for Freeview as well, but it was mainly
I think
on
only
demand.
one actually.
Yeah. I think it was your one that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go.
Okay, well, so how to condense this. Basically, I moved to Australia as a young man in my early 20s and to do a bit of traveling. And then I ended up going to drama school out there. And that's where I met this person.
Yeah.
And then I also met Sanger.
Yeah. We were in the same drama school class.
Yes, we went to the same drama school in the same year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And that, so the core, the spark, if you like, of perhaps the gaming side of things is shortly after we finished drama school, towards the end of it, I invited you and Sanger to join my D&D campaign that I was running. Okay, so that's when we started gaming. At this point,
I did not want to do it at first.
No, didn't want to do
because I was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that didn't seem like a cool thing to do.
Yeah, the thing is though, he actually really wasn't very cool.
I was really cool. I still am really cool.
Yes. To be fair, he actually was considered cool, but everyone in our you are.
I love the caveat.
I think everyone in our drama school year was, apart from maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah. And if any of you are watching, we'll let you decide who you are.
The thing is, if you're a bunch of actors, like playing games and all that sort of jazz is not considered uncool.
No.
It's just like,
really
that's
cool.
awesome. You know. So right, anyway, so I started playing the campaign, learned that you had played a bit of 40k when you were younger. I wasn't playing 40k at this stage, I played when I was younger. Fast forward a few years, I've moved back to the UK. I'm cutting out a lot of stuff here, I was working as an actor over in Australia, and so were you, etc., etc. And I met my wife, And I decided, because I was only going to come back to the UK for a bit, sort of test out the acting water here and then probably go back to Australia. And then what happened was I was like, right, well, I'm probably going to stay in the UK for the foreseeable. So I had this idea years ago that it would be kind of cool to create a channel. And truth be told, but one of my childhood friends said, do you want to start playing again when I came back to the UK? Because he was continuing to play. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went onto YouTube and was like learning how to play again, you know, and I was looking at some battle reports and stuff. And I was like, which there weren't really very many back then.
No.
And I was like, you know what? I think I could do this.
Yeah, why not?
So, you know, and I'm like that. I just sort of, I pitched the idea to my then girlfriend and I said, look, I've got this idea that I could create this wargaming channel. And, you know, I think it'll be great. And with it, she said, yeah, that's a good idea. And I said, well, I probably need to use the kitchen and stuff to play games. Anyway, within 2 weeks, I got some lights off of eBay, you know, a very cheap camera. And I'd met Beard. I was working with Beard at the time in my job, and I sort of got him in. I was like, you know, do you like this stuff? He said, oh, I used to paint when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, do you want to start again? He's like, sure. And to cut a very long story short, because he could go into really in-depth here, basically we started playing in the kitchen. And I started putting some videos out on YouTube. I was still in touch with you at the time, and then I
was back I'd been in the UK.
That's right, and then you'd gone back to Australia.
And I'd gone back to Australia.
Yeah, so it's back and forth.
Yeah. Because I went back because I thought, it was kind of, I went back to Australia to start a life with my then ex girlfriend, and that fell apart. Yeah. And so you called me up and was like, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. Yeah. I was actually acting quite a lot, but I was like, nothing. And he goes, do you want to come and be on this thing? And I went, why not? So I came back.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So, so yeah, after the first 6 months, 9 months of the channel, you came over.
Yeah.
We bought the Shadow Strike Enclave off of eBay.
eBay purchase. I got off the plane, and then I got over my jet lag. I went to your house, and then it was like 3 days, and I bought it. Yeah. And then
the house or the army?
The house.
Yeah, no.
I bought the house from you with all of my money. The Shadow Strike Enclave, and then I never learned to paint.
No.
We didn't have time.
Well, we've got another question which will come up, so we might be able to cover that.
Right. So yeah, and then we just cracked on with it, really.
Yeah. So that's how it started. That's how we met. Now there's a lot that's happened in between that.
Yeah.
You know, we could do a dedicated show on that, and I think we might do an updated one at some point.
Sure.
Why not? Because we filmed that a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Well, when we first got here.
Yeah. So you know, we could do an updated one and put that into separate. If you guys want to hear an in-depth sort of our origins, if you like, let us know, and we'll film that.
Those origins.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the question. Amazing. Next question is from Facebook, and it's from Stuart Knight.
Hi, Stuart.
That is a fantastic last name. Yeah. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Will you guys be diving into Sigmar or specialist games in the future? And may I say, with a second name like Knight, that seems appropriate to be into Sigmar, right?
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, to answer your question is yes. When? Because that would be the natural next question. What I will do, these guys, this is the question which was asked already over and on demand, where the guys did go into it in a little bit more detail. I can actually add quite a bit more to that as well. There are some logistical issues. I had already, although I haven't focused on it for the past year during the pandemic, collected some armies. So we've actually got some armies painted, like we've got a Death Army, for example. We've got an Uruk army, although it's quite small. But we were poised to sort of look at it a bit more aggressively and maybe start painting it. And then the pandemic hit, you know, we went into skeleton crew, so lost a lot of resource. A lot of commission painters weren't working either. And it, at one point, it even became quite difficult to even buy stock because it would sell out.
Yeah, exactly.
But to cut a long story short, having been here in our new studio for a year and a half-ish, and it's still what isn't quite finished yet. It's a lot of ongoing work, but which was slowed again due to the pandemic. We had cancellation on Windows and all sorts of things that were going on. So it's just been everything's just been taking an extra long time.
Yeah.
Now, as a result, now that we've been here and settled in a bit more, I've got an issue with space. Like we already need a bigger space. Okay, truth be told, we need a bigger space. We don't even have the space right now to house the Sigmar armies, believe it or not.
Yeah, we are close to full.
Yeah, we could probably start. We could probably give it a good go. Like we've got a little bit of extra space that we could start with the initial armies, but miniatures, especially when you're using them on a daily basis, actually take up a lot of space, and we need them to be accessible. Yeah. The second thing is time. It's going to take a lot of time to paint up these armies. We don't want to start Age of Sigmar or any game sort of half-baked, where I've got 3 armies painted, we do a battle report once a month, and it's the same 3 armies that you see for 3 or 4 months or 5 months. Yeah. I think I'll get quite boring, and 2, I don't think it will be doing it justice. Now I know that there's probably going to be a lot of people say, "Oh, I wouldn't mind one Age of Sigmar game a month," but think about it from our point of view, the amount of work it will take, because if we're not playing it regularly as well, it's almost like we have to relearn the rules and update ourselves, because these games are always changing.
I've never played Sigmar.
Yeah, we need to be in it and doing it or not. Does that make sense? To do it justice, where we could do a smooth battle report for you, where we're getting the rules mainly right, where we know what we're doing with our armies. And I've seen a few suggestions where they're like, it could be doing like a Tale of Four Gamers style, where you build it up as you go. That is an awesome idea, and that was one of the initial ideas we had. But the reality is, in order to maintain our Warhammer 40,000 content and our D&D content, which D&D is actually a great one, because we can actually film that very efficiently. Like we can get 3 or 4 episodes done in a single day. Yeah, that's really, really good for us. We don't have the time to sit down and paint these Sigmar armies. No,
our days are so full.
Yeah.
So incredibly full.
It can take, like yesterday, you actually finished late because it took 9 hours to film a battle report. Yeah. 9 hours. So that's longer than a normal game.
It's a cracking game.
It's a brilliant game.
It's a really good one.
That's an Admech and Salamanders.
Yeah,
which you guys will see here soon.
You guys will see, not too far.
So look, the reality is it takes a lot of time, right? So the only way that we would logistically make it work is if we outsourced the commission, the armies. They would need to be commission painted. Now, I already hire 1 to 2. I have basically, not including Sanger, we have 1 to 2 commission painters on full time at any given time. Yeah. It's a true story. So like the Flesh Terrors, I hired Fletcher full time for just over 3 months. He's then going to be hired again for another 2 to 3 months for a second phase. Now you think about it, that's hiring someone full time, and we're paying the painters' rates. We're not getting this stuff for free. This is no strange discount deal. This is, I'm paying these guys full time, right? What their rate is, what they ask. And it's expensive. If you want good quality, it's expensive. It always made me laugh. Like some people would say, "Oh, well, you should be able to paint this 2,000 point army for 100 quid." I'm like, would you do 2 to 3 months worth of work at 8 hours a day for £100? No. And then somebody will say, "Oh, we'll just make the standard a bit lower." Even a lower standard takes ages. Yeah. These things have lots of detail, and we work with a very high standard here on the channel.
And also, it's kind of important for us, and I think it comes from our acting background as well, because when we were gigging, like the amount of stuff I have done for free or for cheap or for exposure and all that sort of stuff
for your show reel.
And it's a really unhealthy kind of environment to kind of put things into, because you can't, if you're trying to make a living out of something like this, then you need to actually make a living out of it, right? And
pay your rent.
Yeah,
eat.
Pay your rent, eat.
At a minimum.
And then, you deserve a beer on the weekend or something like that.
What if you want to go on holiday?
Yeah. holiday.
You should be able to do that.
Should be able to do that.
Like any normal job.
So I think it's important for us to actually be, when we do these things, like we want them done to our standard, but we also want to make sure that everyone is getting paid properly and all that sort of stuff.
Which means that there's a budget. Means I don't have limitless funds. I wish we did. You know, if all of you on Freeview came over and joined us on demand, we would be fine.
Yeah.
But the
so
reality
just do that, please.
That's
Everyone
not
come
the case.
across.
Okay, it's not the case. Okay, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you know, it's actually a very small percentage of people that are willing to actually support us, and those people are absolutely awesome. Thank you very much. We couldn't do this without you because, frankly, the YouTube stuff, like the YouTube revenue, the adverts, it gets us basically nothing.
Yeah.
It's basically nothing. Unless you're like a PewDiePie style 7 million, 10 million view average, video doing one a week, you're not making big money. I think there's a bit of a
misconception.
Myth. Yeah, like they think, oh, YouTubers, you got over 100K subscribers, you must be like rolling in the money. No. Oh, no. Anyways, so you do this for the love of it, but obviously we need to run as well. So very important we pay the painters. So logistically, to cut a very long story short, to get something like Sigmar, which is a big game, which we would need a minimum pool of 8 armies, in my opinion, to give you enough variety. And then even then you'd want armies still being painted on whilst you're releasing battle reports. We would need to hire 3 full-time painters concurrently, not including Sanger, because Sanger's just working on our 40K stuff. We still want Space Wolves to come.
Yep.
I've got a couple of really, really cool armies for 40K coming, which are kind of like unique. So I don't want to give that away yet, but they're going to be really, really sweet.
Yeah.
But Sanger's working on all of that. So
he's busy.
He's busy, yeah.
He's real busy.
And the thing is, in GW, go, oh, here, new rules. Here's a new unit. So then you're going back adding something to something else.
Yep.
That's supposed to already be done. It's constant. It's constant.
Yeah.
So we need 3 full-time painters painting for realistically 9 months. So that's 3 full-time salaries at 9 months. And I hate to bring up the business side of it, but that's the reality, guys. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Yep.
And guess what? I haven't even bought the models yet.
Yeah.
And we don't get that free either. It's not cheap. We know how the hobby is expensive. It is. That's the bottom line. Okay, you need surplus cash to be able to enjoy this hobby. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
So if you want us to do Sigmar, to be bluntly honest, I would need to launch another lodge membership. I would need to do a Kickstarter for it. I'm not going to go into that now. Perhaps do a separate video on it, but I would need to go, right, I need to hire these 3 painters. I'd speak to the painters and line them up, and I'd go, we would need X amount of funds to buy the armies and pay these guys for 9 months.
Yep.
And that's how we would get it. And then what would happen is I'd anticipate each painter would complete an army to a battle report standard, because you need about 5,000 points.
Yep.
For the variety, otherwise you get the same list every game, which would be boring, right? You guys are complaining about that, so we need the variety. So I'd anticipate every 3 months we'd get one.
Yeah.
Some armies are quicker than others, like Ogre Kingdoms, I know. So we'd work it out, but that would be the reality. That's what we'd have to do. And even then, here's the other kicker. We don't have time in our schedule to film, because I wouldn't want Sigmar to replace any of our existing 40K content.
No. So it's the thing is, like, and I know we kind of covered that a little bit. Yeah. I think why we wanted to go into it in a bit more depth is sometimes it feels like, oh, you guys said you're going to do this and you just not like it, or it's like, no, we want to do it at the standard that we're doing our 40K battle reports at the moment. Yeah. And that is the reality of it. It's not that we don't like it. It's not that we're not really invested and want to get, like, I want to play, flying dwarves in blimps with harpoons. Like, I'm all about that.
Yeah,
look at
it's really cool.
That has B-Bone written all over it. It's fantastic. But like that is just the reality of the situation that we're in right now. Yeah. So
storage space issue,
Yeah.
Resource issue. Reality is I probably need to hire even another full-timer. And then we would need, when we move in a bigger space, we'd need a second studio so that we could film a Sigmar game and a 40K game concurrently.
Yeah.
See? That's the only way we could release it in addition. And then the vision would be, here on Freeview, then you'd be able to get one Sigmar game a week or maybe one Sigmar game a fortnight whilst still getting a 40k game every week.
Yeah.
All right?
So 5-year plan, right?
Yeah. So basically, sign up to On Demand, help us out, and you'll get those things quicker. It's as simple as that. Or I'll do a dedicated lodge membership for it. But even then, I've still got problems, as I've mentioned. So look, great question. Specialist games are going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I do have plans to implement some of those much quicker because painting 10 Blood Bowl teams or something is much easier quicker than painting 10 Sigmar armies.
And let me tell you, when we launch our Madden-style report, Blood Bowl weekend party that I have been talking about for years, I will feel so complete as a person. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
No, it will be awesome.
I'm not even going to play. Yeah. I'm just going to commentate the whole thing. I might play.
Well, I was hoping we'd do them live. So
exactly.
I've got a plan.
Yeah,
I've got a plan with that. So that will come. But again, we've got some COVID restrictions in place right now. So just please bear with me on that. It will happen. Great question. Hopefully that's answered it.
Yeah.
Other games wise, as I said, I've mentioned the 40k RPG. I'm planning on, we're going to finish the Blood Temple, we're going to finish Chef's campaign, and then actually I'll probably run a 40k one, which would be really cool.
Very different for us.
Very different, yeah. And I think we might just put
out
for free on Freeview. So
yeah, that would be cool. We'll have to put a different backdrop up.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. I've got so many. It'd be cool if we were in a ship, or something. It'd be really awesome.
We'll drape something. We'll just drape something over it.
Well, we need like consoles and stuff. We need to be like on an imperial
vessel.
I wear
a headset?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm going.
We're going on the next question.
Okay,
now.
right.
Okay, because we've got to limit our time here.
Okay, so
all right.
We're doing well at that, by the way.
Yeah,
we're doing really well.
So we're going to have to cut this short, unfortunately, because we've only got time really for an hour, and I think we might have already gone over.
Yeah.
Right. The next question is from Instagram. It's from Max Dreimer. I hope I've said that correctly. What was the first Warhammer miniature you bought, and do you script your intros, or are they spontaneous?
You think the nonsense that comes out of my mouth is scripted? No. That's just a window into the wild and wacky brain that exists inside this globulous knob head that I've got here. We script nothing. There's no scripting.
It's completely and utterly ad-libbed and improvised. And in fact, if we come in feeling, we're all a bit kooky anyway. So if you come in, and you're very kooky.
Yeah, I'm weird.
So if we come in a kooky mood, and I think because, we're both actors. While Chef and Beard aren't actors, I think they are quite creative, so they sort of bounce off of us. But unfortunately, the weirder you get, probably I'll either...
You get quite weird.
Yeah, I'll get really weird, or I'll play it really straight down the line.
My weirdness is quite infectious, you see. I'm actually a very powerful psyker.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain how unlucky your dice rolls are then.
Yeah. No, because I'm putting all my energy into reprogramming your brain to my wavelength.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right, which makes sense. So basically, that's where all of your luck goes. It's nothing to do with me being a psychic husk and draining everyone of their life.
No.
Okay.
No, but I've been getting a bit luckier in the games.
We have actually. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. But look, great question. What was your first miniature?
Marnis Calgar, the original one.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Second edition.
I never painted him because I was a kid and I wanted him to look really good. So I also got the box with all of the Marines and the Orcs. Yeah. And that's the famous one where it's Crimson Fist, isn't it? And he's holding the Orc head. That was it. So I got that. And then they told me that I should play Ultramarines in Games Workshop. So I did.
So you did.
And I got Marnis Calgar. And then I did then I got an Assassin at some point. It was an Eversaw, I think. Yeah, and then I also got...
That must be when they first came out?
Yeah. Can I tell a quick story about that?
Okay, go on.
Very quick.
We only have time for one more question.
All right, this is very quick.
Have to be quick.
It's very quick. So I went it was Thursday night, and at Games Workshop, it was the gaming night, right? So you go in there, and they just released the Assassin's Codex.
Yes.
And they said to me, right, because it's all music and stuff, and we're all kind of, it was a younger crowd there, and they said, who wants to win this assassin? And everyone goes, oh yeah, I'd love to win the assassin. And they goes, well, someone's going to have to dance on the table if they want to get it. And I was the same as a kid as I go, I'll dance on that table.
Yeah.
They were, all right. And they put on, I can't remember what the song was, but I danced on the table. I did a boogie, and then I won the assassin.
That's awesome.
It was a good time.
Yeah, that's really
and
good.
when I painted him, because he has the teeth like this, but I tried to make it so he was growling.
Yeah.
So it kind of went up like that, so it looked like he was going like that. I think it's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I was also in Games Workshop at that time, and they had a competition where you had to beat the Vindicare assassin you could have like one model of your choice. And he would start across the board, and they had set up these gantries and stuff.
Right.
It's a really tall building. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
This is back in London, in the Plaza, the old Games Workshop store there. And if you made it to the Vindicare and killed him, then you would get to have him.
Wow.
You get to have one.
See, that's a lot more cool. I
never got to it.
I had to dance. You never got it?
No.
What was your first one?
Because you had to be your own miniature as well. You couldn't.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you'd have to build and paint a miniature.
Yeah, that's like when I play my avatar in the Death Guard.
Right, yeah.
And he dies.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
So also, I was a little kid. I couldn't even afford all of the big, cool miniatures. Because obviously you'd want to put like something like an avatar of Kane down back in the day. Yeah, beat that! But no, my first miniature, now I don't remember the exact first miniature I bought, but I do have them because I sort of dabbled in fantasy first, Warhammer Fantasy. Again, I'll go over this in my Origins video. But basically, the first model I'd ever seen was like an Elder Dreadnought. That's what they called them back then, which is now a Wraith Lord. And it's painted really well, and it was in the Orthway colour scheme. But back when they had a version with yellow helmets and these sort of tiger stripes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really cool. That was the first model I saw, and then I ended up getting some fantasy Empire halberd regiments, where they were just standing there like that. And then my first 40k model that I remember, and that I enjoyed painting, was where you got Calgar, I got Erasmus Tycho.
Yeah, cool.
With the mask.
Very
Blood
cool.
Angels back then.
Yeah.
I was always vampiric. Right, that is it. We've got time for one more question.
One more question.
Okay, now
right.
Unfortunately there's going to be a couple of questions which we're going to miss out on here.
We got carried away.
But look, well, if you guys enjoy this sort of stuff, we'll do more every now and then.
Yeah.
Okay. So, last question today is from Facebook, and it's from Merlino Locke. Hopefully I've said that correctly. What do you see in the future of the hobby in 10 years? Fluff-wise and development-wise, do you think a 40k TV series would change some aspects of the game's universe, even in the long term? Thanks.
Yeah.
And keep up the good work. Love you all, but mostly Chef.
Oh, okay.
Because he mostly loves Chef, we'll go on to the next question.
Cool.
We're skipping this question. Okay.
I think we're starting to see this already. I mean, Warhammer Community just released that they've brought on 3 new creators. I believe it's 3.
Including Peterson, who did Astartes. Which is just a top move by Games Workshop.
Yeah, which is great. And these guys, forgive me, I can't remember the other names of the other 2 guys, but I think that this is the beginning of, because the quality that Astartes brought to that it was just insane. In my opinion, it's the best representation I've seen of Space Marines in any sort of cinematic thing that's ever been made.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
That ruthless, relentless moving forward, the energy of it, the pacing of it, the guy
actually dynamic.
Yeah.
They're not cumbersome, nor should they be.
And he told such an excellent story with no dialogue.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was really, really good. So for Games Workshop to recognize that and then to start to bring these artists on, I think what we're going to see over the next 10 years as far as Games Workshop, and this is, you can tell this is in their marketing plan anyway, it's really going to start to become a lot more mainstream.
Yeah.
And where people will start to be brought into the game will be when they see things like these films, these TV shows, and that's going to feed into the hobby.
Yeah.
So it's going to become bigger. Yeah. I think it's going to become better, in my opinion. I think that the more people and the more diversity that we can get in our community is a brilliant thing. Yeah. Because the more people that get involved in this wonderful hobby, the better, right? It's going to be this melting pot of different types of people as well. And I think that's cool. As far as the fluff is concerned, in 10 years, I can't envisage them doing any sorts of massive universe-shifting sorts of fluff, because it would involve a set like the big ones that really would change everything, right? The Emperor would wake up,
or die,
or die and ascend, or depending on what fan theory you're into, right? So that would be one. The Tyranids arrive in full force. Squats come back. Yeah. Please.
Return of the other Primarchs.
Yeah. And then now what I can see is more Primarchs showing up.
Yeah, I think more Primarchs will show up. That's inevitable.
Yeah. I look forward to that, but you can't do it too quickly. Yeah. But I think as far as the story, it's an interesting one, because it really is the story between. Well, there is no good, but it's like the battle against chaos is essentially what the whole thing is about, right? Everyone is fighting chaos in different ways. Even chaos is fighting chaos. So there can be no victory there against chaos, because then it ends.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Do you know what I mean?
The secret is the story isn't supposed to come to an end.
No, it is
because otherwise,
perpetual, right? So I think there'll be advances in the story.
Advances.
I think there's scope for another heresy within the Imperium, if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like there's scope for all this sort of stuff, like, Guilliman going to war with the High Lords of Terror.
Yep.
Because he goes, actually, I've had enough of this. Like this wasn't my father's dream, so I'm going to take control of it, and we're going to go back to reason and all that sort of stuff, rather than Gothic-style religious fanaticism.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's all that sort of stuff that could happen. Will it? I don't think so. I really don't think so, because then this, like, if you just look at it from a business perspective, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. They can't have
nullifies everything that already exists.
Exactly. Like they could have it where Abaddon's 25th crusade finally does get to Terra and destroy it. Like they had him destroy Cadia last time, and that the Imperium gets scattered. But they need to have it always that the good guys, if you want to call them that, have the ability to fight back.
Yeah.
So it's I think
I don't think there'll be a 50k. Is my point.
No, I don't think so. There's no need. Yeah. But I think any series that come out, if it takes hold in a mainstream way, a bit like Game of Thrones made fantasy suddenly more relevant, whereas before most production companies wouldn't go anywhere near it, and things like Stranger Things brought D&D to the fore, made that a bit more mainstream. So it could have a massive effect. It could mean that the hobby gets really popular, and if it gets really popular and the gaming side of it gets cleaned up and refined to a point where it could be, competitive in a way like things like Magic the Gathering are, or, in an esports style. Are those things possible? Maybe.
Yeah.
But they'll only be really possible if it goes that it needs that extra money and that extra refinement, especially from the gameplay point of view, because there are certain logistical issues like having to have a whole painted army as opposed to a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Exactly. But look, it's an exciting future, and the fact that Games Workshop are now finally getting out into that creative realm where they can put this stuff on the screen. If it's done well, it's going to be amazing, and things like Astartes we know are already amazing. I'm
really excited about Exodite as well, being like a huge Tau fan, and I'm hoping they do that justice, so this whole meme culture around Tau can start to disappear. Because Tau are really, like, when you start to read into them, there's so much scope to make them a really fascinating,
they're really cool,
in depth, quite dark in some parts of their fluff and lore and everything as well. So that I'm excited to see what they do with that. that scene where he sat before. Oh, if you've not gone and watched them on their own Warhammer community, they've got little clips of everything they're doing, which is really cool.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Well, look. That's all we have time for.
We could talk for hours.
It's a shame because I had 3 more questions and they were real gems as well. So sorry if I haven't got to your questions. We had so many we wouldn't have been able to answer them all anyway.
Yeah.
But well, look, if you guys enjoyed this sort of thing, we'll do more. On demand, we'll get this quite regularly anyway.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to see some more of this on Freeview, great. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And thank you, as ever, for your support. So this has been Backstage with myself, Lawrence, and Ben.
Yeah.
We'll see you in another video very soon.
Bye.
But mostly chef.
Oh, okay.
Because he mostly loves chef, we'll go on to the next question.
Yeah.